Announcing the commencement of the first purge.
I want you to change the world, and don't think that this is going to happen peacefully or you can do it alone. We need to kill the rich. You get out there, you use your weapons, and you rip Washington apart. You hunt down the billionaires, the bank bosses, the CEOs, the scumbags and the liars, the governors, the lobbyists, the senators, because they're all the same, and you hang them.
Just remember all the good the purge does.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is May 15th, still 2018. Gene editing tool CRISPR is a new scary technology that can change everything we know, from our food to our bodies. This is one of the methods that are being looked at for life extension. And CRISPR is almost that easy for people to use. Really, it is. You're able to copy and paste, for crying out loud. And one thing we should worry about is how quickly things are changing and growing at an alarming rate. And this is a rate that very few people can keep up with. From human-animal hybrids to gene editing, scientists now hold the very foundations of life in their hands. And see, one of the problems with this is scientists aren't independent. You don't have an independent branch of scientists like, like independent media. Most of the scientists out there are under the thumb of government. And the ones who aren't get very little funding and make, not a lot of progress as a result of that. So, if researchers are left unchecked by the world's regulatory bodies and allowed to continue playing God, pretty soon the world as we know it will be nothing more than a distant memory. I think that it's probably already that distant memory. And not for this reason, but for many, many others. And, of course, we won't know that it happened until it's too late. Like most things, genetically modified. They were testing them in the late 80s, or I'm sorry, late 70s, early 80s, without anyone even have any idea it was going on. And the same goes with the chemtrailing. They've been doing that for decades. And it was only, in the, 1990s that people finally caught on to it. So, but now most of us are likely familiar with the concept of gene editing, a type of genetic engineering in which scientists in white coats insert, replace, or modify the DNA of living organisms. The organic versus genetically modified food, GMO debate, has become huge in the United States, and many Americans are opting for organic produce over GMOs, convinced that we do not know enough about the long-term effects of gene editing to just allow it to take over our food supply. And I could not agree more with that. Russia, as far as I know, has banned genetically modified food. As far as I know, they could have changed their mind, but the last I heard, that it was banned. And you don't have to be an official scientist to get your hands on this technology either. You can have a closet lab and have a CRISPR editor, okay? So, as John Rappaport noted in Waking Times, the gene editing techniques we have become familiar with are now a thing of the past, replaced by a deadly accurate technique called CRISPR. And this stands for cluster regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. Scientists discovered the CRISPR system accidentally while studying the immune system of a type of bacteria. And this comes from curiosity. When a virus attacks one of these bacteria, the CRISPR system captures a piece of the virus's DNA and slides it into a section of its own DNA, which lets the bacteria's virus-fighting machinery use it like a wanted poster to identify and destroy the virus it came from the next time it attacks. Scientists are now able to take the CRISPR system's ability to cut, copy, and paste or replace pieces of DNA and use it to their own ends, applying it virtually to any DNA they want. Of course, medical and scientific communities are overjoyed about this discovery, convinced that it will be used in humane philanthropy. I can never pronounce this word for some reason. Philanthropic ways to cure genetic disorders, produce transplant organs, eliminate the need for diabetics to take insulin, wipe out heart disease, and cure multiple illnesses. No, they ain't going to do that. There's no money in curing these illnesses. And that's why the pharmaceutical industry has gotten to be so enormous. That's why the medical industry has gotten to be so enormous, is because they're in the business of treating symptoms of diseases and not curing them. They deliberately don't cure you to make as much money as they possibly can off of you. I know I'm a cynical bastard, but you know what? You should be cynical too. You should be very cynical. And those of you who don't believe that, or who believe that the state should and has a right to exist, you will come to find out that this is just not the case. So, what's really concerning about this technology for many people is they don't know the unintended consequences of gene editing. Now, and I talk about Sumerians a lot, okay, because I read about them a lot and I think about them a lot. One of their things was, and in the Bible as well, how genes were being manipulated back then, which is one of the reasons, supposedly, the earth was flooded. Of course, what actually happened is this planet came close to us. It caused the waters to recede far back into the oceans, and then when the orbit went around, all that water got released and spread out all over the planet. That makes more sense than this 40-day, 40-night shit. And there's another one. It was less than 40 days. I think it was 3. There's a lot of stories that have been stolen from the Sumerians. So, and I know this because the Sumerians came first. It can't be any other way. So anyway, according to them, this is how humanity was created, through gene editing, through taking the genes of their gods, the Anunnaki, and look, I'm not the one saying this, it's an ancient fucking civilization. And by the way, their double helix is pretty similar to our modern double helix. So, they took their own genes and inserted them into the genetic puzzle, whatever you want to call it, the genetics of Neanderthal people. And as a result, we are what we are now. This is the reason why our species and individuals of our species, like myself, are so self-destructive. Man, I am very self-destructive, and it's a good thing that I'm not rich, because, you know, I would probably kill myself just because I'm so rich, and I've been very rich before, and I was very self-destructive with my money. So it's probably a good thing that I'm not rich anymore, and living on the fringes, if you will. But these Anunnaki, they supposedly made us like this, and what worries me is some person out there, they decide they want to take a bit of their DNA and mix it with a bull or alligator or whatever, and we start seeing all these fucking weird creatures as a result. And gene manipulation could very well be why there's been so many different sightings of, I would just call them strange-looking creatures. That's probably the most logical explanation to a lot of these sightings, that somebody somewhere manipulated the genetics of two animals, and it resulted in that creature. There's a spider goat, and I know it's hard to fucking believe, but there's a spider goat, and they made this spider goat to harvest the webbing of a spider. So instead of milk coming out of the goats, I believe they're called udders in a goat, I don't know for sure, but the word I think is appropriate. Instead of the milk coming out of the goat, it's web. And this is supposedly used in the latest body armor technology. So, it's already going on. And there's no reason to think that people, scientists, maybe not your common Joe yet, but scientists have engineered diseases like Lyme's disease and other things, creatures, and released them in the wild. It's not so unreasonable to come to that conclusion, considering all the different sightings of different types of strange animals. And, of course, the rumors from Plum Island, the rumors about AIDS. Well, actually, the AIDS isn't such a rumor. The doctor flat out admitted it was created. So, there's no reason to believe that this stuff will be used for good. And there's no reason to believe that there won't be unintended consequences. I mean, and they do these things all the time, not knowing the unintended consequences. I don't think they give a shit. Fukushima, you know, they put it in a stupid place and got stupid results. GMO, same thing, stupid results. So there's no reason to think that this would turn out any better than any of those things. People building fucking homes by volcanoes. I mean, come on, people. Why the fuck would you put your home by a volcano? If you live near Yellowstone, you clearly were not thinking when you made that decision. You didn't think of the consequences if, well, say it erupts. What are you going to do then? You're going to fucking be vaporized by a volcano. So anyway, I thought I'd share this with you. Here's a paragraph. One of the biggest problems with the CRISPR technology is how inexpensive and readily available it is to anyone with even the most basic laboratory who knows what people are busy cooking up in their basements. Crossbreeding of strange plant combinations. Animals or humans without certain features or with extras added in. Animal-human chimeras. Or, I'm just going to leave it with chimera. And I'm going to be honest with you. If I had a basic laboratory and the money to buy a CRISPR machine, I would do it. I would. And the reason is my curiosity. I love to know how things work. And, you know, if a pharmaceutical company wanted me to make, say, morphine or hydrocodone, I'd be capable of doing that because of my curiosity. So it wouldn't take me long to learn how to use this either. But luckily, I'm not rich, and it's probably for the best that I'm not. And because if I were, I would do just self-destructive things like fuck with my own genes and buy one of these machines. I'm just being honest with you. I love to experiment. I really do. So, I hope you all have a good day. Remember, kill the state before the state kills you.